Ah, there we go. Take two at doing this. Don't question it. But yeah, welcome to Stream of Thoughts. Well, a bit of an odd title, but we'll get to it. A lot of odd, well, an odd topic, and a bit of review, a lot of review of what, the channel has been. But I guess without further ado, I guess let's get into it. Oh no, what happened here? Okay, while I set that stuff up that broke down, uh, just some background music, just so we have something. Yeah, audio logs, video logs, and not vlogs. Very bizarre title, but I think it was fitting, especially of what I'm gonna talk about, and that is just the concept of this channel being. There we go. Fix that just for you. The concept of the channel being a bit of a time capsule of sorts, where I've mentioned this, I believe, maybe sometime in the past 2 weeks, but a lot of my stuff isn't meant to be seen now. And, well, it was more of a collection. It's more effective as it kind of grows over time, or is kept up over time. And so I've used this kind of time capsule analogy where it's about preservation more so than being recent, modern, and up to date. And so as a result, thinking back on it, it kind of feels a bit like a scientific experiment. So, in a way, these videos of the past have been, well, I call them video logs. Or they aren't quite vlogs. Well, I want to call them vlogs, but the social definition of vlogs is, well, often filming oneself with a camera and often traveling or reviewing things, but in a way, I guess, well, yeah, the channel is meant to show a story of growth, is a good way to put it, where the start of the channel is me kind of learning. I've talked about this last time, where the channel is an experiment of myself going through a new experience and seeing what I do with it. One of the examples. And so, looking at the channel periodically over time, each video is kind of an account of what I did, how I did it, and, well, a reflection of those actions. Now, in each video, there's content, but it's also a review of, not a review, but also shows the process of me learning how to edit videos, make them better, and whatnot. And so, well, I guess creating a channel in this way creates almost a story. And also, kind of a bit of an experiment of growth. I mentioned just earlier that this feels like a scientific experiment. Videos here are kind of my data points, kind of points that I plot over time to show means of growth. So over the course of however long, well, I gave myself 3 months. The first 3 months is kind of the growth period, but a lot of, well, a lot of what I do is, oh, I lost my, well, there are observable points in instances of time, and there's kind of proof to show that kind of growth in that day, week, or month. And it shows that I'm learning, I'm changing. And so it's a very beneficial thing. And to kind of support what I do is the concept of stream of thoughts. I created stream of thoughts mostly. I've said before in the past that it was a way for me to communicate kind of and ad-lib a little bit, learn how to improvise, kind of talk openly and freely, but stream of thoughts is also kind of a reasoning aspect of kind of the behind the scenes of why I did certain things. There are a whole plethora of reasons why I like to do things and how I approach them. There's always various motivations behind making certain videos, why I chose to do things that way, or why I even launched this as a project. And so stream of thoughts is a good way for me to condense it. Well, not condense it, but kind of round it up and put it in a nice place where if the videos themselves kind of show the data points, these videos kind of explain why those data points are. At least I hope they do. And so, at creating this, I've created my own kind of scientific experiment with my own self and my own experience and growth, and created this project where I'm changing over time. And that's kind of the aspect that I want to portray for people who want to see this through a creative portfolio. So it feels weird. I've had a failed stream of this, and so I'm talking about all of this all over again, so I might miss some beats, but so forgive me if anything. But there is technically a downside to this because of how I did things. Each video, it has multiple motivations. Actually, no, rewind. Whatever, it's too late now. But since each video is created for multiple reasons, both for short term and for long term, there kind of creates this conflict of kind of quality and change. So for instance, I have various creative projects on the channel, and if I want people to see them, well, they're all within the first 3 months. Well, mostly in the first 3 months until I could get more out gradually. I'm not doing them as much now because I don't want to pressure myself, and well, I mean, a lot of what I do is technically already out there. Chapter 1 is said and done. But, well, if anyone wants to see me and, well, creative things I do, sure, they could. There are certain videos, there are playlists I put out of like, hey, here are all the creative things I've done. But the issue is, since it's the first 3 months, well, the quality isn't going to be as phenomenal as it can be. And that could hurt a lot. It's kind of one downside to what I've shown. So in a sense, that could, well, rate things poorly, just based on kind of the human psyche. You know, if people might find something unattractive or unappealing to look at or listen to, they might not stick around. So despite being creative, it might not mean anything if it doesn't, well, stick around. But however, in the long term, kind of, if preserved over time and kind of what am I trying to say here? Tripping over my own words, but those are the words. However, that video is more a part of a collection of videos where I use it to showcase growth. So people are looking at that kind of demonstration of growth over time, then, well, that one video is one aspect of it. But since I created it for both long-term and short-term, or created it as a way that people could view it in its entirety or in small parts, since I'm trying to please both audiences, it doesn't exactly... You end up kind of ruining, well, making it less effective on both ends. But I feel that, well, I felt that that was an okay risk to take. Just because perhaps they might not be able to do any better, or perhaps it's just to get it out there. Odd way of me saying that. But it's more so me trying to get it out there. Or maybe it's because I think, well, it's good enough, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Let's see here, looking at notes. So that's the downside, but I guess we could talk about the upside, which is, well, sure, the quality might not be the best because I've been learning over time. However, there's a very important aspect of this is kind of that the aspect of, well, good aspect of creativity and myself and, well, my content. And it's that I've mentioned this just before, but all of my content isn't modern or up to date. You can't really date it because, well, it could have been done at any point in time. Sure, there were technically days where I've mentioned days, but really it doesn't mean too much if it's all just going to be preserved and looked at some point in time. So the good side of that is that, well, nothing changes, nothing could really be outdated. None of my stuff could be outdated. I bring up my creative projects once again. Nothing there is exactly outdated. It could be looked back on at any time and it could still be shown as kind of a means of creative thinking. For instance, the games I do, perhaps, a lot of my thoughts and feelings about them are kind of more about the games themselves, and rather than modern events and times, which is kind of why in games in particular, I like to highlight, well, the games themselves more than myself. So in a way, all this work is timeless. It's not like it'll be wasted. And at whatever point I am in life, it could be looked back and seen. And it's not like the things it's not like I'm gonna, well, I don't intend to stop. Well, I do intend to stop, but there's still more stuff coming. And so I don't see it as too problematic as with being, air quotes, up to date, when really there'll at this point always be something new to look at. Excuse me. Let's see, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I feel like I went through that a lot quicker, but I technically have been through this twice now. Well, this is my second time. So, yeah, I guess to wrap, well, to put things together, well, I didn't well, I might have thought of it at the time or previous and might have forgotten, but this channel could be viewed as a time capsule of sorts. And so videos are made over time. Well, videos are made over time to show the growth and development of my progress of talking, learning, editing, etc. Gaming, I guess, would also fall in that category for a long-term audience. However, it's because I also include I include things for the short term, such as, say, the skills I demonstrate, can't think, creative projects, games could technically also be there. It's because I also try to account for individual videos themselves, in which it's a downside to what I do and how I portray this to other people in terms of being a creative portfolio. However, this may not necessarily be a bad thing because of the timeless nature of the project. And because technically I have recorded an audio log, which is Stream of Thoughts, where I could talk about, demonstrate the problems I've encountered, the things I've been doing at that point in time. At least it's able to hopefully account for that drawback, and is hopefully able to explain at what point in time I was thinking of doing things. And since my things are timeless, well, a lot of things don't really involve the modern day or mention of date or whatnot. It can all be approached at any point in time, and that I find is a big boon to what I do. But yeah, an audio log of a video log, but not a vlog. Video logs are the videos themselves, not quite vlogs. Audio logs account for that, and all part of one big system that I've created. Each part has its own function and explanation, maybe a series of explanations behind them. That's what I forgot to mention. Although technically it's already deciphered. But one aspect of what I wanted to say was that's it. Stream of Thoughts is kind of motivation. Also keeps track of motivation behind what I do. A lot of what I've done, a lot of the content I've done, technically isn't new. Always been done by someone else, or someone else, and they've probably done it, but very likely did it better than I did. However, the difference being is motivation. And sometimes it's the motivation behind doing an action that really counts towards, what you do. And so Stream of Thoughts is a good way to actually show the motivation behind things. Since sometimes the means lead to the end. And so I find that important to actually account for. And once again, going back, explains why that data point of the video is, which could hopefully clear the air a bit. There we go. I think I've mentioned everything I wanted to say. I guess as for the not official, administrative things. hopefully next time I'll be talking about more game things, so we'll go astray from talking about kind of the behind the scenes stuff, because stream of thoughts, another motivation behind stream of thoughts is just, well, hearing me talk, or trying to make me talk for a prolonged amount of time by myself, and seeing how that is. So we'll be talking about some games, because I also want to show knowledge of game news and announcements, but kinda in the middle of this weekend, so I'd rather do it all at once. I also aim to do, I kinda want to redo the previous stream of thoughts as well, which was song cost, since I haven't a lot to talk about it, but when my thoughts were scattered, I felt like I could do that one a lot better. Especially since I didn't have notes to rely on, because I wanted to try that out. But yeah, that's it. That's the stream, and those are my thoughts. Hopefully they meant something. Well, as you ventured down whatever this time capsule is, or well, tell me how it went, however long it may be from now. Hopefully it went well. But, well, hopefully, yeah, I guess hopefully it went well. Until next time.